Welcome back to Versus Games for the League Challenge here in Oviedo, Florida. After 4 grueling rounds of Swiss and top 4, Jonathan, we've got our final matchup here, and I'm hyped for it, dude.
I'm honestly excited to see it after a grueling top 4 of Logan Martinez beating Andrew Navarro, especially after playing him in round 4, locking him that finals, and then Joven being able to beat Patrick Connors.
I believe that makes Joven Teixeira the honorary NAIC champion now.
No, that wouldn't work like that. If it did,
if it did, well, where's his World's invite?
He's working on it. He's a busy man.
Is he top 75?
He's close enough.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Man just does school and still is close by to just be able to get it.
Well, as you guys are aware, top 75 in North America will get a World's invite, excluding the winning of regionals, because if you win a regional or you top 4 in IC, you get to go to Worlds. Now, I believe you're going to EUIC, are you not?
No, I am not. I will be going to Atlanta. We do have some players here. I believe it is Carey that we did see earlier on, both on the desk and throughout the stream matches. He will be going to EUIC.
Do we know if Patrick Connors is going to EUIC?
I don't think so. I do not think so.
It'd be interesting to see if he does.
Only it's a little. Well, we have 2 weeks. I do know he's going to, I think, an event, but I do not know which one.
We've got some time before EUIC. We've got some time, and while you guys are also watching EUIC, I believe there are some online tournaments that you guys can participate in too. There is going to be a lot of them for the grassroots VGC scene, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys are looking for online tournaments outside of your local scene, join them, because that's a lot of fun. I mean, online tournaments, they're good practice. Most of them are best of 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of practice, and it's definitely why we see these 2 players right here in finals, why they fought so hard, because of all the practice they've done to get to this point. And we are seeing Logan Martinez versus Joven Teixeira. I think I'm butchering his nickname, his last name.
I've probably butchered his last name.
Yeah,
more times
I'm never gonna get it right. But we are gonna be seeing them set up right on the stage. We are seeing Logan. He is running the Choice Specs Terrapago, something that, you know, an archetype that hasn't been really seen as much, with the Grimmsnarl, the light screen, the Thunder Wave to slow things down, and the foul play definitely helps him out with, of course, your regular basic Metamons.
Exactly right. You look at that Terrapagos, as you mentioned, the Choice Specs, it locks itself into the first move that it uses, but it gets a 50% boost in power, and then you add in the Terra Starstorm. If you terrestrialize that Terrapagos, suddenly you have a spread move with Choice Specs.
And then as we're looking on over to Joven's side, we see him with the Zamazenta. That Terra Starstorm becomes a spread move once it's terra'd, which Joven has the Wide Guard to just negate the damage. And of course, since it's Choice Specs, it will just lock itself out. And the only way it can stop using the move is by swapping out or sadly being knocked out.
And, you know, Wide Guard against the Terrapagos with a Grimmsnarl as the opponent. There's something in my mind. Like, something is, you know, I'm getting flashbacks to something. I'm getting these vivid memories.
Nope.
There was something that happened with a Wide Guard and a Terrapagos and a Grimmsnarl.
No, don't remember.
I just can't get it out of my head. Like, I'm trying to remember, where did I see this happen before?
Maybe it'll come back to you throughout the set. Only time will tell.
Time will have to tell.
Yeah.
More so than anything else. For all I know, I could be losing my mind. I could be losing my mind. But that's the beauty of Pokemon, is that you get to have fun while looking at a team sheet, and then it's almost like school. It's almost like a school. You get ready for a test, and this is a test for our 2 trainers to try to win a league challenge. They have studied the sheets. I wonder if any of them are going to blank when they see the first question.
Well, we are going to have to find out, because I believe we are heading into game 1 of the Oviedo League Challenge. I'm honestly excited to see both of these players win, because not only do none of these players have their BFLs maxed out, but I believe if Logan Martinez wins this set, he will be able to win his first ever local so far in his Pokemon career.
That would be amazing if that happens. And we're getting into game number 1. We see Logan has opted to lead with the Grimmsnarl and that Raging Bolt. And on Joven's side, he leads the Amoonguss and the Urshifu Rapid Strike.
This is very interesting. Grimmsnarl on the field is able to not only set up screens to lower the damage output from a close combat into the Raging Bolt, but also he could go for a Thunder Wave just to increase his odds of, getting a paralysis and causing Mon to not even go for attack. We are going to be seeing the Urshifu swap out into the Dragonite here, more than likely expecting a Thunderbolt or some move to just be able to take the resisted damage. Reflect is going to come up on the field with a Raging Bolt, going for a Thunderbolt into that Dragonite. It still will do a lot.
But in comes that Spore, so Grimmsnarl is taking a nap now. It will take one guaranteed turn of sleep on this turn due to the Spore, but the Raging Bolt can still go for another attack here. Meanwhile, the Dragonite is just over, I'm assuming 30% health right there, so it's still in the yellow, but it's close to the red. It can go for an attack in theory, as we do see a Rage Powder coming out from this Amoonguss. Now, what's important to note here, Jonathan, this Amoonguss is carrying the Rocky Helmet, as we see Choice Band Aerial Ace go into the Grimmsnarl there, and a Dragon Pulse doing 50% to the Amoonguss. That is huge damage to the Mushroom.
No, yeah, with that booster energy increasing his special attack power, it will do a lot of damage, especially because it's Dragon Pulse. It is one of the many things that players have to recognize going between Dragon Pulse and Draco Meteor, because Draco Meteor has usually a chance of picking up that KO, but it also has a chance of missing. We are going to be seeing an Aerial Ace going into the Grimmsnarl. I think Joven's trying to recognize his priorities, but so does Logan, knocking out the Dragonite with a Dragon Pulse, which means since there's no Rage Powder, this has to be a Spore coming in for the Amoonguss spot, going into the Raging Bolt, trying to have both of Logan's Mons asleep.
And that is the success in play as the Raging Bolt. I'm actually surprised that Amoonguss was able to get a Spore all the way up there in the clouds.
No, it doesn't matter how big or small the opponent is, it will always be able to get a Spore as the Zamazenta comes into the field as well, increasing it defenses due to its Dauntless Shield ability. Logan might be able to get a paralysis off just because it's been 2 turns to sleep for Grimmsnarl, so there is a very likely chance it can wake up, but it also might take its final 3rd turn of sleep and just, not be able to just allow Joven just to be able to do massive damage with the Zamazenta.
And we do see that Joven has opted to switch out that Amoonguss here to get its Regenerator ability and regain 33% of its health, and back comes out that Urshifu, as we do see Logan has decided to activate his Terra Orb, and he is going to fire it at Raging Bolt. And Jonathan, it really is the season of love, because that is a very loving Raging Bolt there with the Fairy Terra.
No, yes, indeed. With the Terra Fairy, it's going to be able to be taking resisted damage from the body press. But if Joven reads the Terra Fairy play, goes for the Heavy Slam just like he does, but only into the Grimmsnarl slot, it makes a lot of sense. It is the safest play to go for. It will be knocking out that Grimmsnarl, so it will no longer be able to help out support its Logan's team with both screens or even the possibility of a Thunder Wave.
And we do see Terrapagos is the Pokemon of choice here as Logan's 3rd Pokemon here. Now, because the Terra was used on Raging Bolt, Terrapagos is locked into its Terrastal form. It is not able to get its Stellar form and make Terra Starstorm a spread move. However, with the choice specs, it will do major damage. But we do see Aqua Jet coming out on the Urshifu to break that Terra Shell.
It is more than likely. Logan was hoping for Raging Bolt to come out, but it is still being fast asleep. Zamazenta will be doing a massive amount of damage into the Terrapagos, but it will still live as Terrapagos goes for a Terra Starstorm into the Urshifu shot, bringing it all the way down to 0 and knocking out this Urshifu.
That is huge damage right there, getting a one-hit knockout on Urshifu with a single target Terra Starstorm, but now it's Zamazenta and Amoonguss against the world.
No, yeah, exactly. With Amoonguss now, all it could do is just go for Rage Powder, just redirect all of the possible moves that Terrapagos and Raging Bolt wants to do into Zamazenta and allow just Zamazenta to just do massive amount of damage into either one of the slots. More than likely, Zamazenta is going to do a body press into the Terrapagos, because once you remove a restrictive, it's just basically a winnable game.
And what's important to note here is that Joven has just activated his Terra Orb on Zamazenta. Zamazenta going very draconic like it was in Sword and Shield, but this is what's important to note here. Zamazenta knocks out Terrapagos, and if Raging Bolt wakes up here, you can go for a Dragon Pulse into the Amoonguss here, and Raging Bolt does wake up, goes for that Dragon Pulse. If Amoonguss clicks Spore here, it does! Raging Bolt goes back to sleep!
Joven realized that because Raging Bolt took all its full 3 turns to sleep, including the mandatory one, it was going to wake up this turn. Realizing this, he knew that he could just go for another Spore. Very smart play from Joven as Logan reveals his final mon being a Ogerpon Heart Flame that with 2 turns left of Reflect, I don't really know how he can make a comeback. Raging Bolt's going to have to take its mandatory turn of sleep, and then after that, it's just hoping that it can wake up from that point forward.
Exactly right there, Jonathan. We do see Ogerpon go for the spiky shield. Raging Bolt takes its first turn, its guaranteed turn of sleep, as Amoonguss protects as well. That is a good play from Logan's side because we see the body press, and it goes into the Ogerpon as well. So Zamazenta will take damage here by virtue of that spiky shield.
Not only that, but because Amoonguss had protect that turn, it basically means it will not be able to protect this on that following turn unless it gets a double protect, which it tries to go for but is not able to do so, which means the Ogerpon is, after taking this body press, will be—
It's a critical hit! 1-hit knockout! Ogerpon goes down to the critical hit body press!
That is something you do not want to see.
And Raging Bolt wakes up too!
It will do massive damage into the Zamazenta.
It knocks out Zamazenta!
It will— a turn of events that I don't think anyone could have predicted. The critical hit into the Ogerpon Heartflame. It usually would live that, especially with the Reflect, but it does not happen. The Raging Bolt having a 1-turn wake up, going straight into the Zamazenta, realizing that its partner was down and it needed to wake up and do its best to secure the set, which it has done. And I believe Logan, after a very tough game 1, is able to climb back and secure himself this set.
And move 1 step closer to winning the league challenge, Jonathan. That it was an incredible comeback in game 1. It looked very dire for him because Joven had— I mean, you get that critical hit body press too, but if the Raging Bolt just kept staying asleep, then the Zamazenta was in a great spot. I mean, now I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe Heavy Slam into a Raging Bolt does— I believe it's base 60 power or 80 power, or it could even be 40. I don't know. What is Raging Bolt's weight? Like, we have to remember, that is why some trainers have been opting for Behemoth Bash over Heavy Slam. Because Heavy Slam is good for a Pokemon like a Clefairy. It's good for a Flutter Mane.
It's good against the Grimmsnarl, which we saw earlier in the set. It makes a lot of sense why Joven definitely tried to prioritize just having the Raging Bolt be its final mon alive. But at the end of the day, the RNG was just not in his favor for Joven. The turn 1 wake up on Raging Bolt was just phenomenal. And now the question has to be asked, what are Joven's adjustments going into this? Definitely, you have to think going into this to game number 2 that the only mon that did not get as much value was the Dragonite, besides going for a few Air Relays and taking 1 Thunderbolt that did more than 60% of its HP.
You're exactly right there. That by getting that Thunderbolt into the Dragonite, you essentially put Dragonite on a timer with what it could do in that matchup. And Amoonguss really couldn't Rage Powder as much as it probably wanted to in that battle either, because Raging Bolt was just putting out so much damage on every single turn and putting Joven in unfavorable positions. He really needed the sleep.
He definitely needed Raging Bolt to be asleep and for him to take the win. But it is unfortunate. But Joven will more than likely will adapt and find a new strategy going into game number 2 that I believe we are going to head into right about now. I'm honestly excited to see if any leads have been changed.
And we do see it is a lead to change on Joven's side. It is the Pow Knight versus the Grimmsnarl and Raging Bolt on the side of Logan. Logan opting to keep his lead the same, but Joven has decided I'm gonna hit you with a Chien-Pao and a Dragonite.
This is very, very interesting for Logan. He can play defensive here, be able to set up screens, but also has the ability to just go for a Terra Fairy in case Joven decides to just do massive amount of damage and go for an Outrage and possibly an Ice Spinner into the Raging Bolt slot, trying to just remove it off the board right off the bat. It's going to be very different. It's going to be a little bit of a read-heavy play of what these players want to do. And we are going to see the Terra coming out from Joven. I believe, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be that Terra Normal Dragonite, which is exactly what it is.
It's going to be that Dragonite. And in honor of the Super Bowl, Dragonite is saying, "Ring me." It's saying, ring me, I want a ring tonight. And Dragonite is green too. I think it's going for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, not only that, but because the ring is a Terra normal, it's going to be increasing that extreme speed boost, which is more than likely what is going to be coming out, as we also see Logan going for a Terra Fairy, bringing in the love, making sure that no matter what, if it decides to go for an outrage, it's going to be immune to it.
And we do see it is the extreme speed. We also have to remember priority goes ahead of the reflect. It does good damage into the Raging Bolt here. The reflect comes up now by the priority, and Chien-Pao goes for the Ice Spinner into this Raging Bolt with the reflect, and Raging Bolt survives on 6 HP! Raging
Bolt will be going for the Dragon Pulse, doing more than half HP, but because of the Terra Normal, it will be alive and be able to do another extreme speed damage into the possible Raging Bolt. Logan right now is on the back foot. He needs to play defensive. He needs to find a turn to just keep his, be able to bring in a Mon to do a massive amount of damage. We are going to see Raging Bolt go for a Protect. This might mean that Grimmsnarl either will set up another layer of screens with the light screen or go for a Thunder Wave onto Dragonite.
And we see it is an extreme speed into the Grimmsnarl and a critical hit!
Oh,
the critical hit breaks through the reflect! Are you kidding me?
Sucker Punch is being revealed of what Chien-Pao has gone for, but it will not connect because there is nothing to connect into. I think if Logan was going for a Thunder Wave that turn to try to gain any momentum, it wasn't going to happen. That Dragonite is locked in. As we can see, Logan bringing in his Restrictive, his Terrapagos, and because Terra Fairy is on Raging Bolt, that means the Terrapagos will only have Terra Shift and not be able to take one hit of resisted damage, no matter what it is.
But what's important to note here is that in the side of Joven, while he might have Zamazenta in the back, we don't know. We do not know if Joven has Zamazenta in the bag. This Chien-Pao does not have Sacred Sword. It has Sucker Punch, Ice Spinner, Protect, and Throat Chop.
So it basically will be just more than likely Dragonite will try to break the Terra Shift Shell or trying to just knock out that Raging Bolt. We do see Raging Bolt going for a Protect, hopefully trying to keep itself alive, but it is going to fail. The Extreme Seed is going to pop, and it is going to be going into that Raging Bolt slot. Very good play from Joven. Just remove the Raging Bolt right off the bat. Have Chien-Pao, the slower Mon, on his side of the field. Just be able to do damage, break the Terra Shift ability, be able to then allow Dragonite the following turn to go for an E-Speed, which is exactly what Joven is going for with the Ice Spinner.
And we see the Ice Spinner come out here. This will be not very effective. It does decent damage into the Terrapagos through the resist, but in comes this Terra Starstorm, and this Chien-Pao does have its Focus Sash intact, so it will live at 1 HP after that Terra Starstorm.
And then we are seeing Logan's final Mon being the Ogerpon. I don't really know what Ogerpon can help out throughout the set. It could try to redirect the extreme speed and allowing Terrapagos to get some damage output. But at the end of the day, the Pao Knight Dragonite duo, the Chien-Pao Dragonite duo, is just an extreme combo that it is very difficult to break if you either don't have the resources for, or if you're just not that lucky.
And we see the extreme speed go into the Terrapagos slot here, and the Ice Spinner, it's a double up into the Terrapagos, and Terrapagos goes down!
Terrapagos will be going down, which means it will allow the Ogerpon to at least try to do something. Oh, it went for Spiky Shield. I didn't even notice that. And it seems like there's no way for Logan to come back from this. All he could do possibly is maybe stall out the Extreme Seed PP and just allow it to struggle, but even then, I don't think that's possible. He needs like 5 Spiky Shields, maybe.
Give or take on that, which I think is possible. I believe there is like a random chance that you can get so many Spiky Shields in a row. I think I saw once it won like 4 turns in a row. But we get a double. We get a double Spiky Shield.
Yeah, it could also, Logan is going for the Spiky Shield, trying to maybe do a little bit of chip into the Dragonite and hoping that maybe the recoil of it going into that Spiky Shield is going to do enough damage. But it also could be that Logan at this point is just trying to stall out as much time as he can to figure out his adjustments, to give himself more time to kind of find a new adjustment going into game number 3, because this game is more than likely said and done, and at this point the next game will probably determine our winner.
It most likely will, and we do see that third Pokemon on Joven's side is that Zamazenta. It gets the Dauntless Shield, but Zamazenta is faster than Ogerpon, and Dragonite is locked into a move with +2 priority. So Dragonite will always go first, then Zamazenta will go, and then Ogerpon.
It's just going to be until it's going to take a certain point up to Ogerpon not be able to take as much damage as it can It is as much as she is a beautiful Pokemon with a variety of masks, those masks are not going to be able to help her out against the two beasts. And we are going to see Spiky Shield failed, and as Dragonite goes for the Street Beat into that Ogerpon slot, doing more than almost 50%, not more.
But the body press comes out, and Ogerpon actually survived. Oh, hang on a second here. That's good information right there, that Ogerpon lived the double up. Now, I believe that might be a part of Chen Pao going down, because Chen Pao with the Sword of Ruin lowers Ogerpon's physical defense by 25%.
I think not only that, but also I think Reflect was still up during the entire time of that game number 2.
I didn't even remember Reflect was up.
Yeah, Reflect was still up, so with removing Chen Pao definitely allowed the Reflect to keep it alive for an extra turn. Obviously, Logan did decide to just end that set there. You know, I think he got not only more enough info, but possibly gave himself enough time to possibly think of a new adjustment going into this game 3.
I think you're exactly right, because this, and also, how fun is it that a finals goes to a game 3? It's all, like, those are the matchups that you want to see. I mean, yes, Joven, it was very helpful that Dragonite on the first extreme speed, critical hit into, actually no, it was the second extreme speed, my apologies. It was a critical hit, Terra normal extreme speed into the Grimmsnarl, which allowed it to knock out the Grimmsnarl. I actually wonder what would have happened if Grimmsnarl survived that. I believe it was going for a Thunder Wave into the Dragonite, and it can only go into that Dragonite with Thunder Wave because Chen Pao being a Dark type, ever since Generation 7, Prankster does not work if you're using it on a Dark type. So the only move that Grimmsnarl can use in the 1v1 on a Chen Pao is that Foul Play. Now, while it will do decent damage through the resist, it won't do big damage like it would on that Dragonite.
Not only that, the more I'm thinking about it, there is another move that a Grimmsnarl could have gone for, which is that Foul Play, just trying to do as much damage into that that Dragonite slot, which also makes a lot of sense as to why we did see that Sucker Punch come out from the Chen Pao, possibly just trying to secure that play, where if Logan went for the Foul Play into that Grimmsnarl, it would possibly cover up the damage, to do enough damage to possibly pick up the KO. But we are going to go into our game 3 and the final game of this best of 3-4 in the Oviedo Challenge. Will Logan be able to come out on top and win himself his first ever local, or will Joven deny that?
And we do see that Game 3 has started here. It is Urshifu and Amoonguss for Joven, and Grimmsnarl and Ogerpon for Logan here. And this is a very interesting lead, because Amoonguss has access to that Terra Fire. If you get the Terra Fire off on the Amoonguss, suddenly you don't have that Terra in the back pocket for someone like a Zamazenta or a Dragonite if it's in the back.
I don't think he's going to be able to go for that Terra Fire because Urshifu's on the field. Even with Reflect up, because Urshifu's Surging Strike will always crit, it will just ignore the boost from the Reflect. We are going to see the Terra Water coming out from the Urshifu, increasing the water damage that it is going to more than likely go for, which is going to be possibly a Surging Strike into the Ogerpon slot. We are going to see that Rage Powder trying to redirect the possible T-Wave coming out from the Grimmsnarl, which it is, and it will be heading straight into that Amoonguss slot. But because Amoonguss is Terra Grass, it did not Terra Fire, it will still be able to ignore that that Rage Powder, as we see Surging Strikes going straight into the Ogerpon.
And that's going to do big damage with the guaranteed critical hits here. Let's see how much damage this does.
This might be a roll.
This might be a roll to KO the Ogerpon. Ogerpon survives on 13 HP.
It does survive, which means it's able to go for a massive Ivy Cudgel straight into that Ogerpon slot.
And Amoonguss survived!
The invisible focus sash that Amoonguss is holding kept it alive. That is something that I don't know if Logan really wanted, because now all Ogerpon could go for is just a simple just Rage Powder redirect and just allow it to die, as Urshifu is able to pick up the KO onto that Ogerpon slot.
Exactly, but you also have to remember that now, because Urshifu is terastallized, Foul Play will do normal damage into the Urshifu. It will not be resisted by the fighting type, as the Thunder Wave comes out on the Grimmsnarl and it goes into the Amoonguss, as Surging Strikes comes out once again, and Urshifu going into Grimmsnarl actually.
That's an interesting play. Joven might have called that Logan was going to possibly either protect or swap out his Ogerpon, but we are going to see Logan's Ogerpon actually go for the Wood Hammer into the Urshifu slot. It will be knocking it out. picking up the KO, but I think the recoil from the Woodhammer is enough to just knock out the Ogerpon itself.
I think you're right there, and we're going to see right now, it is enough to knock out the Ogerpon, so it would have been very interesting to see what happens here, because foul play, if Grimmsnarl had chosen foul play, Amoonguss would have gone down, and I wonder if Grimmsnarl would have gone down, because I believe Rocky Helmet activates on foul play.
I think the HP of the Grimmsnarl is enough to keep it alive and honestly possibly be able to do take 2 Rocky hit damage. We are going to see Joven make the adjustment, bringing in Flutter Mane. That possibly could have been one of the mons that he brought into game number 2, but we never saw because of the power of Dragon Knight Chien-Pao. And because it is holding on to that booster speed, it is the fastest mon on the field, while Raging Bolt is activating its booster energy, increasing its special attack power.
And now this is where Logan has a very interesting decision to make, because the Flutter Mane can go for something like an Icy Wind, it could go for something like a Moonblast here, it could even go for a Shadow Ball, or it could protect. It could do a multitude of things. The Grimmsnarl being alive gives it an opportunity to get up something like the Light Screen, but then you don't have potential of Reflect in the back. And we do see the Raging Bull once again terrestrializes into a Fairy Terra. Again, showing the love. Amoonguss gets the Rage Powder off one final time. And Grimmsnarl goes for the Reflect.
Grimmsnarl going for the Reflect, realizing that it doesn't need a set of Light Screen, because at the end of the day, the Zamazenta is a bigger threat, as the Flutter Mane goes for a Moonblast into the Grimmsnarl slot, knocking it out. And we will more than likely, we are seeing a Thunderbolt going straight into the Amoonguss slot, finally taking out the Amoonguss that has done so much work redirecting moves left and right and haven't even taken a single paralysis. It's just done the works.
It really has, and we do see Terrapagos is the final Pokemon on Logan Martinez's side, and Zamazenta is the last Pokemon on Joven's side. These are the last 2 Pokemon on either side for the remainder of this battle, Jonathan.
It is going to come down to whether what Logan and Joven want to prioritize. If I am Joven, I would consider trying to get rid of that Flutter Mane. You saw in game 1 that Joven never really wanted to focus the Raging Bolt because Heavy Slam wasn't going to do as much. But not only that, Joven really can't even tear a Fire because of the fact that if it can't even tear Dragon, it's Zamazenta, because it will take a super effective Dragon Pulse.
And we do see the Moonblast come out into the Terrapagos here. The Body Press comes out, and through the Reflect, it still knocks out the Terrapagos. Terrapagos is down in his Raging Bolt against the world.
Thunderbolt will be going into that Flutter Mane slot. It might be in a range for a Thunderclap, but it is going to come down to what Joven decides to go for. It
is a Protect into the Flutter Mane slot here. So Thunderclap will fail into this Flutter Mane, and Zamazenta can go for that Body Press. Ooh, going for Body Press into the Reflect. Doing modest damage through the Reflect and the Resist, but more importantly, getting that damage off.
It's just doing us a little bit of damage into that Raging Bolt. No matter what, every damage counts, and we are going to be seeing a double protect
on the Flutter Mane. So Raging Bolt won't get to attack at all. Another Body Press coming out into this Raging Bolt. The Thunderbolt will fail.
Oh no. Lady Luck is on Joven's side. I think the only way she could make this game, balance, is to give Logan a crit.
We are going to see a Moonblast come out on the Flutter Mane this time, doing big damage, lowering the special attack, and the Body Press comes out on the Zamazenta. Raging Bolt survives. At the very least, it takes down the Flutter. It doesn't even take down the Flutter Mane.
The special attack drop was enough to keep that Flutter Mane alive.
And with that, Joven Teixeira wins the Oviedo League Challenge for February 2025.
Joven played that set phenomenally, not only having Lady Luck on her side, but having the Zamazenta into the Terrapagos, not only crushing and doing massive damage into the competition, but if I have to say, also crushing Logan's dream of getting a challenge win.
Oh my god, that was so unfortunate. I mean, game 2, it was incredible, and we do hear the plethora of fans cheering our 2 finalists, but that was just incredible in game 2. I mean, game 2, Joven just came out guns a-blazing with the Pal Knight. As we saw in Regulation C and a little bit of early Regulation D, Dragonite and Chien-Pao was a massive combination.
Honestly, yeah, it was not only that, but it's also a very tough fight for Logan. The Tarapago Zamazenta matchup is just in general very difficult because Zamazenta could just do massive amount of damage into Tarapagos, just breaking it and just being able to just OHKO it no matter what range of HP it is at, compared to Tarapagos, which it needs to have that choice specs and do either a Terra Starstorm or even Earth Power to just have a chance against it.
And then when you think about it, the Grinstar got the reflect up and Tarapagos still went down a body press.
It's honestly incredible what that Zamazenta has done, but also we cannot ignore there was a little bit of luck on Joven's side. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve this win because that man definitely does. He worked his hard, but that double protect on the Flutter Mane definitely hurt a lot.
Honestly, it did, but at the same time, that's just the way the game goes. I mean, Logan could have, in theory, went after the Zamazenta, just get some damage into the Zamazenta, put it in a range where it was a Thunderclap game.
The problem is that in that board state, it is hard to tell, and it just comes down to what you believe in that moment. Hindsight is always 50-50 at the end of the day. I don't think anyone could have seen that double protect come out.
I don't think anybody could, Jonathan, but that was just the ultimate deciding factor, was that double protect. It allowed Flutter Mane to survive, and then add insult to injury, it gets the special attack drop on the Moonblast that allows it to live the booster energy Thunderbolt and not get knocked out at the end there.
We are going to see our final top 8 standings with, of course, Joven and Logan being first and second, and then our third or fourth going to Andrew and Patrick Connors. And then the 5th through the 8th are all the players throughout our local who were either very close to making it to the top 4 or just was not close enough, with Kobe, Raymond, Abdullah, and of course, Carrie.
And just because of the top 8, let's shout out to Abdullah, because that's a Kyurem White. That's a Kyurem White in Regulation G, ladies and gentlemen. A Kyurem White with an Alolan Ninetales, a Scarf Chiyu, and a Cresselia.
That might be Kyurem White's strongest soldier in Florida, and possibly even in the US, but, you know, I'm not a mind reader.
I think I know one person who might be a Kyurem White supporter. I believe I know somebody who is, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to verify this information.
I mean, we'll figure out. There's a lot of Reg G to play. There's a lot more locals to come out. And honestly, today's tournament was honestly a lot of fun. We did see a lot of great plays.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out and joining us here at the League Challenge at Versus Games in Oviedo, Florida. For Jonathan Martin, for Carrie D'Artona, for Christopher Baez, for Riley Wilcox. I might be forgetting somebody. I'm not 100% sure. I'm Joe Carlito. We are signing off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
I just hope someone would